104.5 The Team, your home for New York Yankees baseball. Helping us out right now, getting ready for the season, Randy Miller from NJ.com. Randy, let's start with shortstop. Why not Glaber Torres?
You're preaching to the choir there. I love this kid. I saw him in the fall league last year in Arizona. At 19 years old, he won the MVP, won the batting title this spring. He was one of their best players. He's now 20. Why not? It's because last year he played high A ball and he hit and they don't want him to come up here and fail when he's probably, first of all, going to have to change positions. He's going to be a second baseman. He's not going to be a shortstop. And that's a huge jump from hitting spring training pitching when guys are just trying to get there, as opposed to hitting Clayton Kershaw in a regular season, something like that. It's a big difference. I love this kid, though, and I would not be surprised if he's in the big leagues by next season, even as a regular. I could see them moving Castro to third and getting rid of Headley by next season.
But is he the best player right now? Tyler Wade, Torres, if you had to rank these guys, is Glaber Torres the best of the three?
He's by far better than Wade, who was farmed out last night. Wade played in Double-A last year. I think he had 260. They view him as a super utility guy. Girardi compared him to maybe poor man's Ben Zobrist. And the third one was who, Mateo? I would rank them, if I'm ranking them, Glaber Torres gets a 10 ranking from me. Wade gets a 7 ranking, and Mateo gets a big question mark. And he has a lot of potential, but he was farmed out early, had a bad spring. He was suspended last year. I think he's going to be traded. I don't think he'll ever play a game with the Yankees.
Randy Miller of NJ.com with us right now on 104.5 The Team. So, Randy, I mean, this presentable logjam that we're starting to see, like you were saying, like, maybe Castro goes to third and this one here. I've seen some projections that put Jorge Mateo in center field. Is there a scenario where Ellsbury is off the team sooner than later?
The Yankees would love that, but who's taking that contract? You're going to have to eat. I've heard people say that they might have to eat 90 to 95% of the contract. They're not prepared to do that now. And I'm not sure that Mateo can play center field, number one. Number two, he had a bad year last year in high A. They farmed him out quickly this year, and when they farmed him out, they said they sent him to high A again, which would be his third year there. Now, I'm guessing he'll get to Trenton at some point this season, but the stock is way down on Mateo. I'm not sure that he is an elite prospect.
Wow, and that's a lot of things that have changed with his career for sure. Let's talk about the big league roster again. That 4th and 5th pitching rotation spot, who's it likely going to go to?
That's a tough one, too. Adam Warren on Tuesday night that decided was going to the bullpen. I'm not surprised there. What I'm expecting is they will only keep 4 starters to start the season because they don't need a 5th starter until Game 12. And in the final week, you have Jordan Montgomery, the left-hander who kind of came out of nowhere, put himself in the mix. He's pitching on Wednesday in Dunedin. Thursday, Severino's pitching in Clearwater against the Phillies, and it could be a pitch-off. I think it's going to be one of those two guys. Chad Green has the best numbers, but he has not had a great spring. He's walked a lot of guys. He was lit up pretty good in a I think it was an A-ball game the other day. So his numbers are misleading. I think Chad Green goes to the minors. My guess is that Severino will be the 4th starter, get 1 start. Montgomery will go to AAA, and Montgomery has a shot. If he pitches well in his final spring start, then I think Montgomery could be the 5th starter. Sess is already out of the mix, and still in there, too, is Brian Mitchell. They like him. It's going to come down to the last spot, I think, between Brian Mitchell and Montgomery. Depends what happens in the final week. Severino will get the 4th shot, even though I think he's better in the bullpen and has been inconsistent this year.
Randy Miller from NJ.com hanging out with us right now, 104.5 The Team, talking Yankees baseball right here on your home for Yankees baseball in the Cap region. So we have had some fun, Randy, with the prospects. Like last year we were yelling about Judgment Day, waiting for Aaron Judge. But at least I waited for the season to start with him. Clint Frazier, I've started screaming at the top of my lungs, bring me the ginger! So how long until I get my wish and Clint Frazier's in the pro squad?
That's a tough question because some things happened with Frazier this spring regarding his hair, regarding some other things. I believe that Clint Frazier is trade bait right now, believe it or not.
Wow.
Great potential as a hitter. I know he rubbed some people the wrong way coming into spring training with his hair right at the limit. CC Sabathia actually pitched with a beard one day, he wouldn't admit it, but it was obviously a statement that if his rookie can get away with his hair, he was walking around in the clubhouse with his hair in a man bun on top there, and I don't think some people like that. After CC pitched with a beard, 2 days later it was shaved. On top of that, the young players get invited to this captain camp every year, and it's a huge honor. They come down a month early. Andy Pettit might speak to them at a dinner one night, Reggie Jackson one night. At the end, the big thing is Derek Jeter talks to them. To my knowledge, this has been going on 3 or 4 years. To my knowledge, the only person who's ever turned down an invite to the captain's camp is Clint Frazier this year. I know some people were not happy with that. Also, I know Frazier pretty well, and I know his family pretty well. After he was acquired in the trade last summer from the Indians in the Andrew Miller trade, I went up and spent 3 or 4 days to watch him, and then I went to his hometown for 3 or 4 days and hung out with his parents and a couple of his best friends, his high school baseball coach. There's a lot to like about Clint Frazier. I like him personally. He needs to mature, and I don't know that he's going to be coming up this year.
Wow. So, Randy, I mean, one of the things we as Yankee fans liked about him up here in the Cap region is, he was tweeting at Bryce Harper already, like, come on, let's go be Yankees. So you think right now there's a good chance Clint Frazier is not going to be a Yankee?
I wouldn't say a good chance. I think that if the White Sox would make a deal for Quintana for Frazier and maybe one other decent prospect, I would not be shocked if he goes there. I know some Yankee people definitely were a little discouraged this spring. That said, he has incredible bat speed. He brings a lot of enthusiasm. I think he means well. I think he's just a young kid that needs to mature in some ways. But that said, some scouts tell me that several scouts have told me that they think Justice Sheffield, the pitcher, is going to be the 20-year-old pitcher that they got in the same deal, is going to be the best acquisition in that trade for Andrew Miller by far. When I first heard Frazier, there's some people that were comparing him to Mike Trout. Now, when I went to the Fall League last year, one scout told me that he thinks Frazier in his prime, absolute prime, is if he pans out as a 280 hitter with 20 homers as a left fielder. I think he can be better than that. I think he can make a couple all-star teams. I like the enthusiasm he brings, but he's a young kid and he's moved quickly up through the system, and it wouldn't shock me if he does not get called up this year, and it wouldn't shock me if he was traded. That said, he has a ton of potential. I think we're just going to have to play it out and see what happens this year.
Randy Miller of NJ.com. That was, I got to tell you, man, you're the first guy to tell me that stuff, and now I really appreciate it because I'll have to limit my expectations.
Yeah, you're a little disappointed, but we're also like, it's a weird way because you're rooting for Frazier to do well, but if he does too well now, maybe he's shipped out of New York. We wait and see.
Yeah, it's gonna be a big year for him to see if he matures. I know that he really enjoyed spring training, being around Matt Holliday, who has been incredible as far as being a leader for the young kids. Same thing with Reggie Jackson. I had this impression of Reggie as a player when I was a kid growing up in Pittsburgh, and you see him, and but as a guy now who's around the team entire spring training, Reggie's tremendous with the young guys, and I think Reggie will be going up to Scranton and spending some time with Frazier, teaching him how to be a Yankee. And it's as Joe Girardi said, you can't fault a kid. He's 22, 23 years old. Since he was 14, 15 years old, he's always been the best player everywhere he's gone. Top 5 pick in the draft. He gets some money in his pocket. He's not a bad kid. I really like his family. I got to know his mom and dad pretty well. I've had dinner with them and his sister. I keep in touch with his best friend, who goes to school at Georgia in Athens, and he has really good values. He's a strong Christian kid, but he's somewhat immature because he's still growing to be a man. And sometimes when you're like that and you're thrown into a big league clubhouse you may say, and do some things that you regret later in life. And he hasn't made bad mistakes, but it's things that I think left a bad impression in some people's eyes for a first big league spring training. I think he'll grow from it. It's going to be interesting to see how the Yankees play this going forward, though.
Randy Miller of NJ.com. If it's cool with you, we're going to pick your brain throughout the season, man. That was great.
Sure, anytime, guys.